everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Dolly-THON on Coffee Next Movie Picks. This is a special series on the show where me and co-host Gavin Hubbard, also the resident Dolly expert, are going to be overviewing the movies of Dolly Parton while discussing some lovely coffee drinks, of course. In this very first episode, we're not going in order here, we are going to be talking about Steel Magnolias, the 1989 film directed by Herbert Ross, starring, of course, Dolly Parton, but also Sally Field, Shirley MacLaine, Daryl Hannah, Olympia Dukes, and Julia Roberts. A very, very star-studded film indeed, and we're going to be talking about this film over the homemade hazelnut latte from Maman in Washington, D.C. We are going to get right into things today. We don't have much time to spare here at the beginning. Gavin is only joining me for the film discussions and the coffee thoughts in these episodes because he's not a coffee drinker. So we're going to start out without him. I'll bring him in later. But first things first, some orders of business to attend to here. There's a companion playlist available for this show. It's a lot of fun. It is, just look it up. It's in the links in the show description down below. But also if you just look up the Dolly-THON on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it should come up. And of course, there are all sorts of Dolly hits in here. There's a lot of different songs spanning her film careers that are related to her films in some way. Of course, we have 9 to 5, but we also get some deeper cuts like the straight talk version of Light of a Clear Blue Morning, which is very like 80s and jazzy. It gets into some like weird stuff over there. Gavin helped me dig out some of the weird stuff. So it's a lot of fun. If you like Dolly or if you don't like Dolly, it's a great way to get to know her. Well, I'm assuming no one here dislikes Dolly, but if you are kind of neutral, you don't know what to think yet, it's a great way to be introduced to some of her music, some of her more niche things, and it's also just a great way to follow along in this series and something to listen to along the way. I know I will be, so tune into that. Links are in the show descriptions down below. For today's coffee review, get out your coffee. We're going to be talking about the homemade hazelnut latte from Maman with a dark chocolate croissant cube. Now, I've been to this place before. I've been to Maman. I've sang its praises many, many, many times. I adore this place. This is like where I bring people when they're coming from out of town. I bring them here to like impress them because it is such a beautiful, beautiful store. And it's a cafe. They have all sorts of like baked goods and everything, but they also serve like some meals, very cafe adjacent meals. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I talked about this before on the show on my Ladybird episode. I talked about their cold brew, which I really, really love. And they always have some like really fancy, some really great seasonal drinks here. And I think this was on their seasonal menu. And if you'd like to hear more about Maman and the ins and out, go listen to that episode. But like I said, we're on a tight schedule today, so I won't get into all of it here. But basically, all of their stores, it's a chain. I think it started in New York, and they have several locations here in DC. I go to the one in Union Market most often, but just a beautiful interior. It's very magical on the inside. They have like fake, not real plants, but fake wisteria everywhere, but it's beautiful nonetheless. They serve all of their drinks and all of their food on toil patterned plates and mugs and all that. So they have a really nice aesthetic and always like high ceilings and like there's like this exposed wood, I don't know, furnishings everywhere. If you are near one, just go. They're very lovely on the inside. And it's just a great place to go like on a date or catching up with someone or try to impress someone that's visiting from out of town. It's a great spot. Now, I had their homemade hazelnut latte, and this drink, it was, they describe it as a smooth and velvety hazelnut praline paired with Mercy espresso and then garnished with a sprinkling of candied hazelnut bits. Yeah, it does do those things. It does. But it was very interesting how they did the hazelnut flavoring here, and I'm not really sure what was in here. It wasn't like a syrup. It was almost like a paste. I know that sounds gross. Like kind of like a peanut butter consistency or like a cookie butter. It reminded me of that, like a cookie butter hazelnut paste. And in this drink, it all kind of like stuck at the bottom. So as I was drinking this, it was just kind of like very giving nothing. It was giving regular latte. Maybe like it was sitting on the counter next to a hazelnut latte. Like that's kind of the flavor I was getting. Very, very subtle. And I know I've talked about how I like subtle flavors on this show before, but this was like subtle to the point of obscurity. So didn't love that. And then I got to the bottom of the drink and I was like, oh, what's all this stuff at the bottom? It was like the butter, the cookie paste. Sorry, I don't like that word. I don't like that. All of it was sitting at the bottom, and I got like a stir stick and I scooped it out and I tasted it. It was very yummy, but I was like, I needed more of this throughout the drink. And I don't know, maybe it was whoever was making it didn't stir it correctly, or I don't know, maybe it's just the ingredient itself doesn't fit right with a coffee drink. Maybe it's best to be like spread on some toast or like a nice cracker or something. Like I feel like it would fit right into more of a sweet and savory charcuterie board. It seemed very much like that, and but I just didn't know what it was doing in my coffee. But it was good nonetheless. They make their coffee very well here. I think this was just like kind of a miss. But I had this with a dark chocolate croissant cube. And now, what exactly does a croissant cube entail? Why are we putting our croissants in a cube shape? When we do that, it's no longer a croissant because unless I'm mistaken here, croissant is maybe French for crescent. That I just completely pulled that out of my ass. What does croissant mean? Croissant, what does mean is what I was about to type in. What does croissant mean? Okay, a French crescent shaped roll. Okay, I need what is it? Etymology is like the study of words. Now I want to make sure I used etymology right. Let's look up that. Yes, yes. Okay, I got that right. Thank you, college linguistics class. Um, the Kipfroll, an Austrian crescent-shaped pastry, can be dated back to at least the 13th century in Austria. Um, yeah, I guessed right. Okay, so sometimes pulling something out of your ass, it goes right. Do not clip that out of context. Oh my gosh. Okay, so back to what we were discussing here. When a croissant is in a cube shape, which this was, it's no longer a croissant, is it? But also, what is it? Because the consistency, like this type of bread, was croissant style bread. And when I think of that, it's like buttery, flaky goodness, right? So, yeah, I don't know if this could be considered a croissant in my book. So it was a cube. And when I say cube, I mean like cube. You could lay bricks with this thing. Like the three little piggies, one did sticks, one did hay, one did bricks, one did croissant cubes. This was sturdy as hell. It was sturdy as hell. It had sharp corners and it was tough too, like cutting into it. It was like I said, you could build a foundation of a house with this stuff. It was a Minecraft block. It was literally a Minecraft block. Sharp edges, like I would just love to get like 10 of these and build like different block formations. Um, yeah, and I didn't know how to feel about it. It also had hair. It had this like little mohawk thingy. And if you're not following here, just go to my Instagram. I have a picture of it. I'll put it on my Instagram at Coffee Next Movie Picks in case you're not following. And it had like a little mohawk made out of marshmallow fluff. And it was very tough. Like, kind of like if you put gel in your hair, like Jack Jack from Incredibles. You put gel in your hair and you stick it like straight up. That's kind of what it was like. And it was really hard, almost like they hardened it under like a blow dryer or something. The croissant was also pretty tough too. That's my one gripe with this place. Every time I've had a pastry there, they don't heat it up. And that is to the detriment of their pastries. I feel like their pastries would be really good if they just kind of like nuked it in the microwave, but they don't do that. And all of them, they're really good and they're really creative pastries and everything, but they all really do taste like they have been sitting out in the pastry case for a day, which I don't know if they actually have or not. So don't quote me on that or sue me, Maman. But I just really think these could benefit from being like heated up a bit, or refreshed in the middle of the day. Yeah, they just kind of like hand it to you. And Yeah, and so it was pretty good. I was here with my sister. It was pretty good. Very tough to get into, and we split it, and we were surprised to find that there was also like a chocolate cream on the inside, which again, I'm like, are we still like in the croissant territory here? We have this like dark chocolate cream going on. I was like, this is just like becoming a completely different thing. I don't know. When I sign up, when I put money down for a croissant, actually my sister paid for this croissant, so thank you, sister. I kind of want a croissant. I don't want science experiment over here. So it was a very kind of like, it was like, huh, kind of, it was like an experimental pastry, not necessarily what I was hoping for. I really, yeah, great atmosphere, beautiful gowns at Maman, but this little visit was like kind of like didn't really hit. I was like, what are they doing in here? They're doing some weird shit over at Maman, which is this is very different beat than my last review, which I like praised and worshipped them and like bowed down, like I love them so much. Um, so I think this is just balancing out a bit. The homemade hazelnut latte, I'm gonna give that a Nick mix. And honestly, this dark chocolate croissant cube, it looks like the block from Hellraiser, whatever it's called, the block that like brings the Cenobites over. It looks like the puzzle box. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't even know if it can be graded on the Nick scale, the Nick's mix or pick. And I've never had that happen before. I just don't even know what the fuck was going on with this thing. Like I said, I don't even know if I should have, like, was I supposed to be eating it or building it? I don't know. I applaud it for making me think, making me question kind of like what I was doing. And I think it's pretty powerful for a pastry to do that, honestly. So congratulations to Dark Chocolate Croissant Cube. You are like unrateable. You are unrateable. You cannot be put on the scale. You are just like in this special miscellaneous category from now until the end of time. But I guess you could rate my experience with it as mixed. I didn't know what to do with it. Yeah. So bizarre time happening over at Maman. Okay. We have a lot to talk about today. We have a whole guest waiting in the wings, waiting to come on stage to co-host this episode with me. And we have a whole movie to talk about. And boy, this is quite the movie. This is quite the movie. So without any further ado, let's welcome our guest for today. Gavin, how are you doing? How's it going?
Oh my God, I'm so good, Nick. How are you?
I'm good. This sounds very stunted because we just recorded the intro right before this. So we kind of said like how we're doing there.
Yeah.
We're going back to back recordings. But anyways, today, as you all know, we're here to talk about Steel Magnolias.
Well, yes.
Yes.
One of the best,
I
in my
mean,
opinion.
Okay, so we just saw this last night.
Yeah, it's still fresh.
We're on a hanging out bender right now, and we're also going to go tomorrow to see. I don't know if that came up, but if it did, that was Butters being picked up because he was about to step on the song teller book. Yeah, so last night was Steel Magnolias, and tomorrow is Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. So we're like back to back here. We were crying.
Yeah, bawling at the theater.
Yeah.
Like, I think at one point I had to, like, grab on your arm because I was, like, crying. So,
It got to a certain point where I was like grabbing back because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. It was kind of like, I've talked about this on the podcast before, but the movie The Iron Claw, and how I was like audibly, loudly sobbing, like, ooh, 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 ooh.
yes.
I was getting close to that. I had to like keep it together. Yeah, keep it under wraps. So
Same. Yeah, I was like trying not to do like a stuttered breath or something because I was like so choked
yeah,
up.
I was kind of doing like the Laura Dern crying face where I was like,
Yes.
which you can't see on this audio podcast.
I think we talked
but
about our faces were tired afterwards
yeah,
because we
they
were really
were.
tired now.
Yeah, and we went and got Taco Bell to like comfort us,
Right.
which did help, I think. But yeah, so it's been just rapid fire Dolly this weekend, but I love it. I would have it no other way. Um, so what's on your mind, Gavin? What's been going on lately? What do you want to talk about today?
Wait, yes, I do have something I want to talk about. I think we should talk about Cracker Barrel. Because we just got
Yes,
back from
yes.
Cracker Barrel
So we also went out to Cracker Barrel today.
for brunch.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. I always have a great time at Cracker Barrel. What I love about Cracker Barrel is not only the food in the old country store, I also feel like Dolly, it's like a politically neutral ground. Like, I
Really?
feel like nobody has politics
Yeah.
at the Cracker Barrel. We're all just there to enjoy like a pancake or like a country fried chicken steak or something like that.
Yes.
So I just think more people need to get into Cracker Barrel, like more people our age, because I feel like it's definitely an older crowd, but we need to rise up. They have
Yeah.
alcohol there now. We should be doing DC gay brunches at the Cracker Barrel
Yeah.
with the mimosa pitchers.
Imagine blacking out at a Cracker Barrel.
Sounds like a dream come true.
It does. It does. I love Cracker Barrel. I always went growing up with my grandma. And I love the little peg game, of course, which we tried to do today.
I'm honestly kind of triggered that you even brought that up.
I
Like
know.
I'm
I'm
glad
sorry.
I'm
I'm
glad it's a
sorry.
good memory for you, but we tried so hard multiple
I
times.
mean, I wouldn't say it's a good memory because even as a child, I don't think I ever won that game once. I've always been stupid.
Really? Like low key,
Yeah.
I thought I was locked in as a kid. Like I thought I was winning that game every time, but today I must have lost my magic touch or something because we were seeing
Really?
3 or 4. We were seeing what was it? Doo doo dummy head.
Ignoramus? How we used to call you.
Ignorate.
Is that politically incorrect saying that? Ignoramus?
Google it. I
Yeah, we
don't
should,
know.
'cause if it is, I'm cutting that out. I don't I don't know. I'll look it up
I
later and
guess
we'll
we'll find
decide
out when the episode
when the
comes
episode
out.
drops and if we're like getting a bunch of texts and everything.
Right.
So yeah. But I always was considered that by the peg game. And they removed it from the board, as you were saying.
Yes, they went woke with
They
the
went woke.
little board game.
Yeah, which I feel like I did see like an Instagram reel of that when it came out. It was like, they removed it, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, I feel like it was around the time that they were trying to like cleanse the aesthetic and like removed the man
Yeah.
from the logo and like paint the walls white. I think it was around that
Yeah.
era.
Which Cracker Barrel today, I'm like traumatized because all I can think about is the 3 months on LinkedIn, which sometimes, if I'm bored, I'll be scrolling on LinkedIn or whatever. And everybody, all the professionals on there were like, here's how the marketing of Cracker Barrel really failed their brand. Here's how B2B sales failed Cracker Barrel's brand. And it's like, girl, like the case studies that I saw of Cracker Barrel, and I like got so turned off by Cracker Barrel because I was like, I just think of like a LinkedIn post to like marketing post, and it drives me crazy.
That's
So
crazy because maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I thought they like did it like as a joke on purpose to get people like angry to like get them to go to Cracker Barrel.
maybe,
Like they were like actually JKing about the whole like painting the walls white.
yeah,
Like I thought you know like IHOP when they were like we're gonna make it International House of Burgers. I thought it was
right.
that kind of gig.
I kind of think it depends on how like big brain their marketing person is. If they were
Right.
really big brain, maybe that's the case. But like maybe they were just like, no, let's make the tables white, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, that didn't work. Um,
Yes.
and here we are talking about it. This is just like a big LinkedIn post. Oh
No.
God.
I'm telling you, it's just all a plot and like they just wanted people to talk about it.
Yeah. Which when I think of a like whitewashed wood brunch place, have you been to First Watch?
Well,
Oh
yes.
yes. Oh my God, I love First Watch so much.
Yeah. I'm okay. I
Oh.
prefer my Cracker Barrel. I know they're not the same thing, but
Yeah, they're very different, but they're very similar too.
they're
They're
cousins.
cousins. I mean, First Watch does not have the old country store.
Really, no one does a store like that anymore. No
Yeah.
restaurant.
Which when I was growing up, and I mentioned this when we were eating there, I remember Bob Evans had like a little store out front. Do they still do that?
Not like they used to,
Um,
but they did. Yeah, they used to have a store,
so
but
Cracker Barrel beat out Bob Evans.
I guess. And I think that we have to mention the whole reason we went to the store is because we were
Yeah.
falsely led to believe that they had like a Dolly Parton section that came
Yeah.
out, but we did not have that at ours.
Yeah, we didn't. We did. There was like a Dolly calendar, and I think that was it,
Yeah.
and a magnet. or mug or something.
And you did it on her birthday.
And on her birthday, wow, bye sister. When I went to Bucky's though, they had a shelf of Dolly things, like Dolly shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. So I was like, if Bucky's can do it, Cracker Barrel can do it, right? Right.
Right, you would think.
Yeah, but also I went to Dollywood this year, like I said in the introduction episode, and yeah, got my fill of merch and all that.
Love. Yeah, I went last year. That was the third time I saw her in person. It was so fun. When I first started going to Dollywood, like when I was talking about when I was younger, it was like hard to find anything with her face on it.
Really?
Yes, because that's before like people started caring about Dolly again.
And I also feel like, not to drive this off topic, off your point, but I feel like Dollywood's MO, like, even though her name is in the title, I feel like it's not about her. It's just kind of like an homage to like that area and like the culture of that area, I guess, and the history of that area. And of course, there's sprinkles of Dolly everywhere.
Hmm.
And they have like a replica of her childhood home in the middle of the park. But it's never been just all about Dolly, because that's just like not the type of person she is to just make a theme park all about her. It's about so much more than that. So I think that's also why the merch used to not be like that, right?
Yeah, I think just because she's become so popular again, they've started bringing more stuff with her face on it because
Yeah.
more people are now starting to go there just because Dolly. And that's like, I don't want to go on another tangent, but that's like the whole issue for me with the Dolly Parton experience. I don't know if you did that when you were there.
I did. It just opened when I went a few years ago and it wasn't open yet. And then I went back this time and it was open.
Yeah.
So what's your issue with that?
I just take issue with it because it's very commercial. It's very commercial. It's like giving the Disney or Van Gogh immersive experience that like tours around with the projectors and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like cute for like a good photo op and like social media and stuff like that. But it replaced the Chasing Rainbows Museum, which was like this really in-depth museum about like Dolly and her upbringing and her songwriting and her costumes. It was basically everything that's in the like anthology books in person.
Yeah.
And they replaced it with something that's going to drive sales instead. I'm
Yeah.
devastated because I was there to learn about Dolly. It's still very cool.
Yeah.
It's still very touching, but it's very commercialized.
I see. I see. Yeah, and I remember when I went, it was like Dolly Experience hats, mugs, this, that, but, and it's like I don't want something that says the Dolly Parton Experience. I just want like a Dolly Parton hat, you know?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Coming from someone who like didn't see what it was like before, but did see it after. I think of it as like the books, and I'm like, oh, this is like a physical manifestation of those books and like everything that's in it. It lays it all out. But it's interesting to hear that it used to be like even more.
Yeah.
But I agree. I hope they keep adding to that. Because when I went, it was just kind of like, oh, this is just a huge room with projectors on the wall. I'm like, I wish there was kind of like things to look at more. But they did have like a whole, not storefront, but like a whole little tiny place with all of her costumes and stuff like that. Even some of her movie things like her scripts. And they had her touring bus there, which was really cool. But I figure we'll talk about Dollywood and pieces all throughout this series, right? We just have to kind of like touch on it here and there. So, but yeah, Cracker Barrel.
Love
Love
Cracker
Cracker
Barrel.
Barrel.
Yes.
Love Cracker Barrel. So
More of the story, go to Cracker Barrel.
Right,
Get
right.
yourself a pancake.
Yeah, what did you get today?
Well,
I don't know.
a pancake and a slice of country ham.
Yeah.
So delicious.
Mhm.
So yummy.
I got Mama's special, which was French toast and bacon and scrambled eggs. Which is
The
delicious.
perfect breakfast.
And I love that they still give you the syrup in little glass bottles, because I feel like that'd be one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, of course they just give you a plastic bottle now, blah 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 blah, blah. But no, they still give you the little glass bottle.
Our waitress was a little stingy though, because usually they give me two, and I usually just steal one and like put it in my fridge. But
Yeah,
she was stingy today.
what the heck? What the heck?
How dare she?
But it was lovely. Definitely have to make it out more often. I didn't have coffee there because I had coffee this morning and it had like 5 shots in it. So I was like, woo, girl. Anyways, do you want to talk about a movie?
Is that what we're here to do? I
We'll
guess
get yeah.
so.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
I guess we
So,
should.
today's movie review, in this part of the Dolly-thon, we are going to be covering Steel Magnolias. Set in a small Louisiana town, Steel Magnolias follows a group of 6 women who frequent a hair salon. That's kind of all there is to it, but there's a lot more kind of packed in there, a lot of emotional stuff. But the film is directed by Herbert Ross and written by Robert Harling. It was based on a play that he wrote, and he also adapted it for the screen. It stars, whew, get ready for this list: Sally Field, Dolly Parton, hello, Shirley MacLaine, Daryl Hannah, Olympia Duquesne? How do you say it?
I don't know. We'll
Hmm.
go with that.
Julia Roberts, Tom Skerritt of Alien fame, Dylan McDermott of American Horror Story fame, for me at least, and many, many more famous actors. It was released on November 22nd, 1989, the year Laura Palmer was killed, for my Twin Peaks fans.
In the year Taylor Swift was born.
Oh, you're
For my
right.
Swifties.
Laura Palmer dies, Taylor Swift comes alive, the devil laughs.
Steel Magnolias. Oh my god.
What else happened that year? That's the year Taylor Swift wrote the album, right? Right,
Right,
right, right,
right,
right,
right, right.
right. Okay. Well, Gavin, this movie we're supposed to be talking about. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I have to say, I do feel like it's almost like the perfect movie. It's like so good. The
Mhm.
story is so good, so touching. Everything about it is just like perfect to me. I think one thing that you left out that I thought was kind of interesting is the play that it's based off of
Yes.
is like semi-autobiographical.
Really?
Yes, the playwright, his sister passed away due to diabetes complications, and he kind of wrote this play. It says that he wrote it in 10 days,
Wow.
which is
He was
crazy.
like
Masterpiece in 10
the
days.
gif of like the pen writing with fire.
Yes.
Like wow,
Yes. He
wow.
was like Alexander Hamilton writing this paper.
Or like
He's
Shakespeare
writing like he's
writing
running out of
Hamlet.
time.
Yes.
But
Writing like you're writing
yes.
out of time. I know that
Yes.
song. I've never watched that musical. But keep going, sorry.
Yeah, so he wrote it in 10 days to help him like deal with the loss of his
Mm.
sister. I just thought that was crazy that something so great was written in 10 days. It was like, well, maybe I can do like anything I put my mind to if he can write this play in 10 days.
Yeah.
But it just adds like an extra layer just to know that it's like based off a true story.
It's very much, now that I know that, like, you could call it like writing out of necessity. You can tell this guy's like truly a writer because he wrote this because he needed to write it to survive, probably. And you can tell like when you watch this that it is just like a work of art, and it is just perfect, honestly. Like, I was so moved watching this movie. It's just like one of those incredibly, incredibly tender and vulnerable films. I have no notes. Literally, I did not take notes. I didn't do research for this because I'm raw dog in this review. Um, can I say that? Am I allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Wow.
Well. But like, yeah, I really, it moved me. It's just one of those movies. It reminded me, I came out of this talking to you and I was like, it reminded me of Lady Bird a little bit. It reminds me of The Holdovers. Kind of like these movies that were very pivotal for me, and that like they just kind of drop you in this world. And that's how you feel when you watch it. You're just kind of like stuck there. And we said this right when we left the theater, but it goes by so fast. The pacing is incredible, because you're just sort of like in the room with these characters. The dialogue isn't exposition heavy. Like, they're talking like normal humans and normal friends. Um, and holidays happen, seasons come and go, people change a lot for some characters. It's just a very true to life film. And it starts where you're just kind of like looking at scenery, and you're watching these people like get ready for a wedding and everything, and you're just sort of like lost in these moments with these people. And I just love that in any movie. If a movie is able to achieve that, I'm in.
Yeah, it's great. And I think what's also really cool about it is even though it feels like fast paced and like everything's constantly moving forward, you also still, even through that, feel really connected to the characters and like you know them and like they could even be people
Yeah.
that you know in your real life. Because I feel like a lot of times with faster paced movies, sometimes you lose that ability to really understand the characters and connect with them. But the way that they lay out these vignettes, I think it might be because it's been adapted from a play.
Hmm.
It just makes it
Yes.
so easy to connect with the characters.
This is why you're here. This is why you're here, theater major. Hello. No, really,
My
like I didn't
degree.
even think. Yes, your degree's
I'm putting it
showing.
to work right here.
Yes, yes. But I didn't even think of that. How like, because one thing I came away with was like, oh, I really focused on like the hair salon, which of course it's like a main part. But like,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this movie is just like really a collection of like moments where these women are together, like this particular group of women, or it's moments where they're in this hair salon together.
Well, like the interesting thing about the stage version, like the play,
Hmm.
is that it only takes place in the hair salon. So
Wow.
maybe that's why you recognize that a little bit more.
Yes. Yeah. And I was kind of like, yeah, vignettes happening in this hair salon, but that's because it happened on a stage and you got to
Yeah,
make the set work and you don't want like a million different sets.
right.
And I also, one thing I was going to say before you even brought that up is I appreciate Shelby. She gets married, very played by Julia Roberts. She gets married very early on in this film and she moves away. And I was like watching the movie and I'm like, it's really interesting that we only ever see her when she's visiting home, even though she's like kind of like the main character here in a way. There's like a lot of main characters, but we don't see her like wherever she moves to. We don't like go with her to that place. We only see her when she comes back, and we like get these kind of dramatic changes every time she comes back with her, and then also the people she comes back to.
Hmm.
Mainly the one character whose name we were forgetting earlier, Elaine. No, it's not Elaine.
No, it's a nail.
A nail, a nail. And we like, she was gone for a few months. She comes back, and a nail is like a completely different person. Um, so I think that's just like kind of like one of the hallmarks of stage plays and theater is like it's just lends itself to really good storytelling like that. Because I feel like if this were just made straight into a movie, like there was no stage play to base it off of, I think the writers could have gotten distracted and like thought about like, oh well, what's Shelby doing off in this city, or like what's happening to Annelle while Shelby's gone, blah 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 blah. And it just kind of, you would have lost track of like the point, like why we're here.
Yeah, the writing is so good. I mean, it's like jumping forward like months and maybe at some points even like a year,
Yeah.
and you don't really even notice it. I mean, you notice that the characters have changed, but you don't get lost in the fact of like how much time has passed. Like it just, the writing is so good that it just makes sense and you just can easily catch on
Right.
because it's so cleverly written.
Yeah, and I really like we said, these are like vignettes happening at a hair salon, but it's also, I think every moment of this movie centers around a holiday of some sort, and you're just kind of like coming back when these characters are, celebrating a holiday. Which is a really clever storytelling device too, because that kind of just tells you how much time is going on naturally. Like we see Easter, and then it's Christmas, and then we go to like Halloween. So you're like, oh wow, a lot of time has passed. And then we go to another Halloween. It's like a little, much more time has passed.
Hmm.
And it's just it's a really good touch point for everyone. It's like, okay, we don't need
Right.
title cards saying like 1 month, 2 months. You know,
Right, it's like giving good context without making it like blatantly obvious.
right.
Like giving these touch points that people can easily relate to and know what time of year it is.
Yeah. And I guess we will talk a little bit, since we've mentioned her so much, we'll talk a little bit about Julia Roberts' character, Shelby, who is diabetic. And, I think this movie really cleverly sets that up. The writing really cleverly sets that up because, to someone like Annelle, who just is kind of showing up in this town, she's the new girl. Shelby would be very just a normal girl, very happy, very pretty, about to get married, very exciting. But then she has this, what do we call it?
Diabetic episode?
Yeah, diabetic episode. And it is really frightening. And I remember when I watched this movie as a kid, I was so scared when this happened. It was like very anxiety inducing because I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And watching this now as an adult, I just notice how effective the filmmaking is, because they changed the sound a bit, and you're focusing on, instead of like bouncing around the hair salon to all these different characters talking, which it's a very drawn out scene where they're talking a long time, you just kind of slowly zoom in on Shelby, and she's like all of a sudden kind of disconnected, and she has this blank face, and you can start to see her shaking a little bit, and there's like kind of this weird droning noise in the background. You're no longer hearing like a conversation. And of course, this is when she has her episode. It's very frightening, and it's a very intense moment. And the mom,
Malin.
Malin, yes, she. This is kind of like where her character is introduced in a very strong way, I think. And she's kind of very scary in this moment too, but it's only because she's so trained in like what to do in this situation. And she's a character that we come to know is like very protective of Shelby, and always wants like what is best for her and what's healthiest for her. So she's someone who, like, this character probably experiences a lot of anxiety relating to Shelby, so she's always ready to kind of jump on it and like respond to the situation. What did you think of this moment?
I think it's like a pivotal scene for the whole movie. Like, it really sets the stakes for the like severity of her, like of Shelby's diagnosis, and how severe her diabetes has progressed. So it sets the stakes there. It also does, like you said, some really crucial character building with Malin, and setting the stakes for her relationship to her daughter, Shelby. It also plays a crucial part in understanding Shelby's relationship to her husband, because she brings up the part of where she said she wouldn't marry him. She also talks about like having children in that moment too. So that whole scene is just very crucial to moving forward the whole plot of the movie, and really setting the stakes.
Yeah, and I really, I appreciate that this movie just kind of goes there right away. And like, up until this point, this movie is just very lighthearted and funny and comforting. And like I said, you're just kind of spending time watching these moments of like them getting ready for a wedding and all these things happening. But then this kind of just, this moment hits you like a wrecking ball, and that's probably why I was so scared as a kid. That's probably why it's so impactful for everyone watching it. And that then sets your expectations for the rest of the film, like, oh, this can happen at any time. And for Shelby's character, this can happen in any moment of her life. When she has kids, this could come up. When she's getting married, this could come up. And I like that this character responds to that in a very like human way. This writing is just so good.
I know, it really,
Yeah.
it utilizes that theater device that's like so crucial to writing a really good sad play, and that's where you start with a really happy like laughing moment, and then follow it by something really tragic to
Yeah.
make the tragic things seem even more high stakes and tragic. So that the whole movie's like that. They love
Yeah.
to have you laugh in 1 second and then cry in the next.
Yeah, I know, because like when probably like the saddest moment of this movie, like the huge monologue from Malin, it's followed by like something really funny. And I that's kind of the point of like that scene, I guess, where what's her name? Claire is like, "Oh, slap Weezer, beat the shit out of her."
Yeah.
That's kind of like the point.
Take a
It's like,
whack at Weezer.
yeah, yeah, it kind of just like really lightens the mood. But yeah, it's like, what, and Dolly also has that like
Yeah, she says
really,
like laughter through tears is the best medicine, or something
yeah.
like that.
And I was like, oh, that's just such a Dollyism.
You're so right.
Yeah, and let's talk. I mean, should we talk about Dolly? No.
Well, I guess we probably should.
I, uh, I forgot just how important, like how much she has to do in this movie. Like she's in like pretty much all the scenes because she, well, she is the beautician. But I think some people could argue that she plays herself in this movie. And to them, I say, so what? So
Hey,
what?
when you're Dolly Parton,
Yeah.
play yourself. It's
And
the best way to play.
my first thing would be, I don't think she did. But also I don't know like what playing herself would look like. But no, she played a beautician. She played this hairstylist. And I think that her presence, like this character Truby that she plays, is just such an important part of this story and like this friend group. And I think if there were any sort of different personality swapped out for this character, it would be just a completely different movie. Truby is the heart of this movie, I think. I mean, she brings them all together. She has that constant positive outlook. And really, you could say like, yeah, Dolly's just playing this herself, but my argument is who else would play the part of Truby? Who else would who else would this be? Like
Exactly.
it had to be Dolly. I mean, this it feels like made for her almost. What do
Yeah,
you think?
such a great character. And when I was doing my little research last night,
Hmm.
it's kind of funny. She actually went to like beautician school to practice for this role, which is so funny. And they said that in the scene where Shelby gets the short haircut,
Uh,
Dolly's actually cutting her hair, and that's her real hair. I said,
no way.
"Gag, that's
Oh my gosh.
crazy."
Also, it is crazy to me what women were doing with their hair in the 80s.
Yes,
Like, I can't
girl.
believe it.
Well, the higher the hair, the closer to God.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
But yeah, I think Dolly does such a great job in this role. I was telling you earlier that story that I heard where she was in that interview with Julia Roberts, and Julia Roberts talks about being on set with Dolly and just how amazing she was to work with. But they were in Louisiana and it was so like sweltering hot outside and like everyone was like bogged down and kind of complaining. And Julia asked Dolly like she said, I know that you have those big wigs on and all these heavy costumes. Like, how are you remaining so like calm and cool? And then Dolly said something like, well, I've ever since I was a little girl, all I wanted to be was rich and famous and be somebody. And I finally made it here. I'm not going to start complaining now. And I said, oh, I
Oh,
said,
that could just make
choose.
you cry. Like,
I
I don't
said,
know.
Dolly, and Julia was talking about like how much it moved her and like how she's taken that advice throughout her career.
Yeah.
And you can't really take anything for granted and you should always just like be humble.
Yeah, it's also a good lesson in just like being present where you are, like looking down at where your feet are planted, being like, I'm here, I made it. And like everything you worked for in your life, like this moment is a result of that. Um, and yeah, I think like someone in Dolly's place could easily have also been complaining and being like, oh, like I'm not famous enough or I'm not rich enough. But Dolly instead was just like, I'm happy right where I am. It's just like such a beautiful story.
It's
I really like
very
that.
Dolly of her.
Yeah, it's very Dolly.
No, she does a great job with the role. I want to say like another part that like sticks out to me is like how crucial her role is as Truvy was when Malin and Shelby are fighting at the hair salon. And
Yes.
she goes, "Fill me in on the reception." And like to kind of get them to stop fighting. I'm like, wow, this character really like kind of runs this group of friends and like knows what to say to keep everyone together. And even like at the part where we find out that Shelby's pregnant and like Malin's upset about it, um, Truvy's kind of like, I don't really know what to say in this moment, but we'll like work through this together. So I just really don't think you can have Steel Magnolias in this group of women without having Truvy. It's just
Right.
such a great character.
Yeah, and I think it's just like manifested in like just the way the show is structured. It all centers around, I mean, the stage play, but also the movie. It all centers around this hair salon, which is Truvy's hair salon. So it's like she is the center of this. She's kind of like the setting. It's like this Southern woman who's very focused on glamour and everything. And like I said, who else would play that but Dolly Parton? So she, yeah, I really do believe it when I say she is the heart of this movie. But also, we have so many other hearts of this movie as well. I mean, all six of these women really play a very, very important role in like helping this movie just be the great thing that it is. I really, really, at least this time around, I loved Weezer and Claire. I thought that their dynamic and like back and forth was just hilarious, but also very heartwarming towards the end. And you know, they are very different personalities, but they just even out the rest of the cast so well.
Yeah. And also, is it Clary?
Is it Clary?
I think it's Clary,
Okay, we talked about
not
this in the
Claire. And
car.
I think we said Claire in the car, but now I'm like, think I heard you say it, and now I'm like,
Oh, I'm looking at
isn't
this and it's Claire with
Clary?
two E's.
Girl, these southern names.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we were talking about this in the car, but these names are crazy. First of all, Weezer, it's not spelled like the band Weezer. It's spelled Ouiser, bourgeois. And then there's M. Lynn, which is M apostrophe Lynn.
Malin.
Malin, Truvy. Shelby's the only like I don't know.
Thank God she's the main
Yeah,
character, right?
exactly, exactly. But I've talked about Anel so much that like we have Drum, the
Drum.
dad. We have Spud, Jackson. We have that Jack Jr.
Oh
and
my
Jackson.
God, Jackson. You know that
Yeah,
that actor and Julia Roberts dated after this movie.
really.
She was dating someone else and she left him for that. Well, I can't blame her
Whoa.
because he was very handsome.
Yeah. Wait, so she left someone for to go to Dylan McDermott?
Yes,
Oh yeah, he was very handsome. When he first came on the screen, I think I like clutched my pearls. I was like, whoa.
he looked good.
Yeah, he looked really good in this. He was very dreamy. And one thing I wanted to talk about, because I feel like a lot of film reviews I'm doing, I'm always talking about how evil the men are and how they ruin everything. Um, they're not in this movie. The men are not evil, aren't they? Am I missing?
They're not evil, they're just kind of mid.
Yeah, I mean they're just present.
But another interesting thing about the stage play is that there are no men in the stage play. It's just the girls. Just
Oh,
the girls in the salon. No men ever make an appearance.
that's interesting. That's really interesting. But yeah, I feel like they're all generally supportive, but they're also just kind of like very middling. Like they don't really have a strong say either way.
No.
The only impression I got was Spud, who's Truvy's wife. He We're first introduced to him, and he's kind of like in a mood. Remember that he's lying in bed with a
Yeah.
beer, and I think just the image of him like lying in bed drinking beers, like in a mood. It kind of scared me at first because I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be like an abusive alcoholic husband or
Mhm.
something," like that trope, but it wasn't at all. And like we saw him in later scenes and he was like actually cheering Truvy up and she was like helping him fix his car or something. And so that's another really interesting way of writing
Yeah.
because I feel like when you first introduce a character, you're setting the tone for how you're going to see them for the rest of the movie. But this, it was like we saw him at one moment and he's a completely different person in the next. It's just very true to life. Like you might bump into someone and they're like in a
Hmm.
mood and not feeling at that, but the next time they're back to their normal selves and like cheery and everything. So I really appreciated that.
I think like one of the most I don't know I don't want to say the most meaningful, but like one of the like scenes that really grabbed my attention is the scene between Truby and Spud before the funeral,
Yeah.
where he's just like, I don't even know what I would do. And it seems like it's very low key, but you can tell that it means like so much to Truby because he's not like super great at communicating, but this is like his way of saying like how in love he is with her.
Yeah.
And it just feels like really sentimental and intimate, and like maybe he's not always the best at communicating his love to her, but in this moment you really get to see behind the curtain, and he's saying like I
Yeah.
basically couldn't live without you in his
That's
little
so
like
sweet.
straight man way.
His little minimal way.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I guess the standards are kind of low, but I was
It's
sweet.
there.
Yeah,
It's there.
it's
Yeah, I
sweet.
gotta appreciate it, I guess. And I also really liked that Truvy is the one kind of like always having to cheer people up or be that positive outlook. And kind of when she showed a little vulnerability and like she maybe was like not for once didn't have that positive outlook, he was the one to cheer up kind of in a way. And
Hmm.
he was playing with like whatever
The wax.
the wax and he was like, what the hell does this even do?
Yeah,
And it,
it
to
makes
make
you
you
look
beautiful.
pretty.
Yeah, or something. So I liked that like he is kind of depicted as like this refuge for her when she's not able to be like that true. And I like that she's although she's super cheery, she also has to have a refuge, and we get to see that because with any person, I think it's unreasonable to expect them to be like 100% all the time. So I appreciate that moment a lot.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, the funeral.
The
Oh
funeral.
my god.
I can't even talk
I
about it.
know.
I mean, one of the greatest movie monologues of all
You
time.
could say that.
You
No, you
could
really
say
you really
that.
could say that. Um, we were talking like in the car back about just like the lines that stuck out to us. So what were your lines from the monologue? Like the
Oh my
ones.
God. I love the one where she's like, I could march to Texas and back, but my daughter can't. And she's like screaming.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. So impactful.
I really like she was saying something like she drifted into my life and then drifted back out and I got to watch the whole thing and it was supposed to be me first and everything. It's just
Yeah.
it is a heartbreaking monologue and Sally Field.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, look at me. Um, she just delivered it
And
stunningly.
where the hell is her Oscar
That's
nomination?
the other thing. I was like, okay, getting out of the movies, I was like, so this is like an Oscar award winning movie, like down the list, every role.
No.
Girl,
Chopped. How?
it
I
got
don't get it.
nominated for one, which well deserved. It Julia Roberts, right?
Yeah,
Nominated for
that's
supporting
supporting. But like,
actress.
who's the lead actress then? Would that be Malin?
I
I guess,
guess
but well, yeah, I guess it would be. I
she's
don't
the only one
know.
in it like the whole way through.
Yeah, she did get nominated for a Golden Globe though for
Or
that
Anel? Would
performance.
Anel be the
I
main? I
don't
mean,
think so.
she's kind
Really?
of like the point of view of the story, right?
I guess it starts
We
with
like
her and
watch her
ends with
walking.
her. Right, doesn't it?
Whoa, Anel's the main
Wait.
character. Whoa, get Daryl Hannah her Oscar. Get
What
Daryl
the?
Hannah her
Where the
leading
hell is
lady
her
Oscar.
Oscar?
Right, right.
Gag.
Also, where's the Best Picture Oscar?
Where are any of the
Where are any of the
Oscars?
soundtrack was also really good.
Oh my God. So good. The
Yeah,
arrangements, the orchestration.
and that's kind of like what reminded me of Lady Bird so much is just kind of like this music that matched the environment so well, and it just kind of like and the holdovers, it lulled you into these settings very quietly and like almost like a lullaby. I really really liked that, and one moment that just kind of like jolted me, that shocked me, was Malin driving home from the hospital by herself. Girl, I think
Devastating.
that's when I was like,
Yeah, that
like,
was like extremely hard for some reason. I
yeah,
think that's just like a scenario that we've all been in where you're like
music off, like
driving down the
driving.
road, ask the traffic lights if it'll be all right. They say, I don't know, like type vibe.
Yeah, I'm tearing up right now. This has been good. Turn the microphone off. Turn the microphone
Girl,
off.
the
The
cameras.
cameras.
But then, like, to follow it up with seeing Jack Jr. immediately after that, and then I was like
Oh
crying.
my
Like, I
God.
think at that point I was crying happy tears. Like, I'm starting to get confused about
Yeah.
what if my tears were like happy or sad in that moment. I think I was happy because I was like, well, Shelby's legacy gets to live on through her son, and like,
Yeah.
Jack Jr. is gonna be like a physical representation of Shelby for Malin, and just to see her like embrace him so heavily in that moment.
Oh my God.
Get the tissues out.
Turn this damn microphone off. I'm done with this podcast. I'm done. Why are we doing? Yeah. Oh my gosh. And while we're talking about Oscars and also this moment and everything, where's the best supporting actor for Jack Jr.? I
Oh
mean,
my
talk
God.
about acting.
What the
This
hell?
little 2 year old acting his ass off. Like
How did they do it?
the scene where she has her diabetic episode, and it's like the one that puts her in the hospital. And he's like, Dylan McDermott Jackson walks in, and he's like screaming, wailing, crying, and points to the patio. That performance is like
Crazy.
unclockable.
How'd they get him to point?
I they
Like
have like
I don't think he spoke yet. He was like,
they had
"Hey,
like Coco
baby."
Melon like playing over there.
Right. I was like, maybe they got like his mom out there and like
Yeah,
made him want his mom, like his real life mom, the
yeah,
actors, or maybe he just went to like Baby Juilliard or something. I don't know.
right.
He turned it out.
He did. He did. It was I that scene, I mean, it was like gut wrenching. Just like how it was haunting. And I think that's also credits to just like whoever was in the
Mm,
booth, I guess. And like the small details, this movie also did a really good job kind of leading up to moments. We talked about that a little with
mhm.
Shelby's first episode. But you know, Shelby's playing and everything seems happy and Jack Jr.'s running around and all that. And she says, like, oh, we're gonna have spaghetti. And then later when Jackson walks in and the spaghetti's still on the stove, like bubbling over everywhere, and it's like made a mess and everything's knocked over. This is like my favorite horror movie.
Oh my
Like
God.
it's
Yeah,
like actually horrifying.
I saw that someone on TikTok said that.
Yeah,
They said I've never seen a more horrific movie.
I
Like,
it this honestly feels like it takes pages out of like horror, like the setup and and like that droning music when she had her first episode. Like
mhm.
it really they know what they're doing here. Cinema.
Yes.
Yeah, and it just is very it's a very haunting moment.
And like you're saying, the attention to details, like even with the set dressing, is so specific. Like the spaghetti that you hear her talking about, it's boiling over, the chairs are tipped over. She says, I need to call your father, and then we see her passed out next to the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, the salon, it's just like these look like actual people's houses. Like these are
Yeah.
very like lived in spaces. And if you told me they just like went to some person's like random house and just filmed as is, I would have believed you. They're just hyper realistic.
Yeah, and talking like more, I think we talked about how they do lead up very well for like these horrific moments, but also for the comedic ones too. I think since we've been talking so much about like the dark stuff in this movie, like the really sad, upsetting stuff, talking about the comedy, this movie is really, really funny. I was chuckling the whole way through,
Oh
even
my
when I was
God.
crying.
So
Um,
funny.
but they lead up into these comedic moments really well, and I just think about that kind of first part of the movie that takes place at Easter, and you have Truvy getting like all these eggs, Easter eggs together. She's like, "Oh, I gotta get these to the church before noon so they can hide them." Blah 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 blah, and it's like just a comedic amount of Easter eggs.
Yes.
And then like Weezer comes up and she's barking, and then Annelle is like holding all these eggs. It's like a huge stack, and you're kind of thinking like, oh, she's gonna drop them, she's gonna drop them, but no, they all make it in the trunk, okay. But then the dad is firing the gun somewhere, and then Weezer's dog like does whatever, and then the trunk falls, and then it's like it just. I like that they made all the comedic things happen at once. And just they kind of knew how to they
Yeah,
know
the
how to work.
pacing is really good. They
Yeah,
know comedic timing, and it's like not only like written comedy, it's like really good physical comedy
yeah,
too.
yeah.
In that scene that you're talking about. But I just feel like Steel Magnolias has so many good one-liners.
It does.
And to write some down.
Thank you, thank you.
So
So
let me
like,
read you some of my
do a rendition.
favorites.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so there's a line that yes, Dolly says, I think, and it's at the wedding, and she
Mhm.
says, I'd rather walk on my lips than criticize anybody, but, and then she criticizes somebody. Plot
Yes.
twist.
Yeah.
And I think that's the line where she talks about, looks like two pigs fighting under a blanket. About that poor woman in her dress.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I also love the line where they're talking about blush and bashful.
Oh
The
yeah.
colors of the wedding. Her colors are pink and pink. Um, I feel like that's also like a very like gay thing. Like I hear like feel like I hear that referenced in like Drag Race and stuff.
Blush and bashful.
Blush and basketball. I have one more thing, but if we need to wrap up, we can.
No, we don't. Go for your
Okay.
thing.
I just wanted to talk about like the parallels between like sisterhood in this and like gay friendships. Like I
Yeah.
think it's very reminiscent of like gay friendships, and I think the playwright, he was gay. So
Oh.
maybe it's like a reflection of him and some of the things that he saw in his friendships. That's just me assuming, I wouldn't know. But I mean, just seeing how the girls interact, it makes me think about all my little gay friends. Like,
Yeah.
it's so sweet. Just like the sense of community and like being there for each other and loving each other. I do feel like Clary and Weezer's relationship kind of had sapphic undertones.
You're right.
Did it?
Oh my God, it did.
It has sapphic
I'm so glad I'm
undertones.
glad you brought up the point about the playwright being gay. And I'm also
Mhm.
glad you said that because that's just like something I feel like I subliminally was thinking, but the part with them like sitting together in the garden when they're like pushing
Yeah.
each other and everything, I'm like, oh,
So they really love each other. Like, I don't
yeah,
know if they know that it's romantic, but y'all love each other.
honey.
What'd she say? I love you more than my luggage or something
Yeah.
like that. I say,
More
yeah.
than my luggage. I love that. Oh my
Queen.
gosh. I'm glad you brought that up. I think this just like the way that they kind of all banter with one another reminds me very much of that. And
Mm-hmm.
especially the characters of Clary and Weezer, I feel like really speak to that because I feel like Weezer's even someone that represents that well. And like you're introduced to her and it's almost like she's a villain, but it's like no, she's one of them and she's always included in everything. Um and yeah, just her interactions with Clary.
We all know a little evil gay guy like that.
Yeah, we
We know a little evil gay
exactly.
guy, a little evil twink, just like a Weezer.
Right, right.
Weezer. Yeah, and then oh my God, what else was I
And
gonna
also, there's
say?
no way a gay guy couldn't have written this because the whole thing with like they're all named Steven or
Yeah,
I was like
Rick, Mark, or Steve, isn't that what
Rick
it
Barker
is? And
Steve.
they all have track lighting.
Yeah, it's like
That is such a funny
yeah,
scene.
that was really good.
Yeah, and I mean, this this movie itself just has such a large gay following, so
Yeah.
it's just obvious that this is such a crucial like film for like queer culture. I mean, like I said, it's been referenced in like Drag Race and stuff.
Hmm.
I've heard of like productions where all the characters are played by drag queens.
Yeah,
It just makes sense.
it does.
Like,
Yeah, it really does.
so it's also like kind of special in that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, well, what's your rating of this movie?
Is it incorrect to say that I would give it a 10 out of 10?
No, I would give it the same thing.
Like, I don't have anything bad to say about it.
We got out of the theater, and I don't know if I formally mentioned this, but this is my first time seeing this movie since I was a child. I was shown this movie when I was maybe like 8 years old or so, and a lot of it just kind of went over my head. Dolly Parton stuck out to me. Oh, I did talk about this, yeah, in the intro episode. Dolly Parton stuck out to me, but like all the kind of other stuff just kind of scared me or confused me when I was little. So this felt like my first time watching it, really. And I got out of the theater and I went on Letterboxd and added it to my top 100 of all time list. And
Period.
it's, you know what? This is a perfect
Oh
movie.
my God.
5 stars, 10 out of 10. This gets the Nick pick. I just think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful work of art. Like literally a life changing movie.
So good.
Yeah.
And I've seen it 100 times probably, and I was still sobbing last night after seeing it.
Yeah.
Time 101. So I think that's just a testament to how good the writing is.
It's also a testament to
How
the
well
theater
done.
going experience. I just think like watching this in a dark room and like no distractions around you, you can
Mm-hmm.
really just get lost in like this world and these characters because the writing is so effective. It lets you do that. Um yeah, and just like hearing the other people around me sniffle and cry and everything, it was just like such an experience. So very glad I got to see this in theaters as well. So go support your local theater
Yes.
too.
Please.
Please, please, please. Well, I had so much fun talking about this. Yeah.
So much fun talking with you.
Yeah, everyone keep following along to the Dolly-thon. Up next, we have all sorts of Dolly Parton films, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. We have 9 to 5, of course, and many, many others to follow. So we'll be back with more Dolly-thon soon on Coffee Next Movie Picks. Yeah, what was that? It looks like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just feel like we need to talk about Eagle when she flies. Because Dolly, since it's about Dolly,
Yeah.
she wrote Eagle when she flies to be like the theme song for the movie. They chose not to use it, but Dolly said it's like one of her favorite songs that she's ever written.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it got nominated for a Grammy. Um, so it's just I'm sad that they didn't use
Yeah.
it. Like, how dare you have Dolly Parton and you're not gonna use her song?
Or like I feel like it could have been one of those deals where like it's the theme of the movie, but they play it like once credits roll.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have done that, but I feel like they're trying to go for something comedic at the very end with the
right.
Easter Bunny on the motorcycle and all that. But I think it should have been included.
They should have.
Dolly gave us 9 to 5. Let her do whatever she wants for this one.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't mention this. We mentioned this in the car last night, but like the whole thing of like the holidays and how it you said this, you noticed it this time. It starts
Starts with
and ends with Easter. And just how like life dramatically changes, but also everything's still the same.
and everything moves on because It ends with a new birth,
A new birth,
a
yeah.
new cycle of life.
Yeah, and Shelby's legacy lives on with the new baby too, because it's going to be named Shelby.
Yes.
Oh,
So cute.
okay. Well, I think that's everything. Go watch this movie and cry. And again, follow along to the Dolly Thong. Dolly Thong.
Hey.
Yes. That's the official merch
Yes.
podcast, the Dolly Thong. Follow along. Where can people find you, Gavin? In Louisiana?
Oh,
Shooting
girl.
poodles?
Oh, in Louisiana, on the streets of DC, on Instagram.
Shaking a little
I'll be there.
tail. Yeah.
Shaking a lot of tail.
Shaking a lot of tail.
What?
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Follow the show on Instagram to stay up to date on new releases and whatnot. And I'll see you sweet little pigs later. Goodbye.
Bye.